some of what you just saw. We have James Auten with us here. He's a lead forecaster in Central Illinois, and he was actually the warning forecaster for an event back in December. It was on December 1st, and there was a tornado warning and subsequent tornado emergency for Taylorville, Illinois. And this is a great example of the science and the service coming together in a very effective way. So this example will probably be cited for many years to come. So with that, I will turn it over to James.
Hi, thank you. Can everybody see my slide okay, I hope?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. All right, well, like she said, this is a real world example. On our end, this was a very successful event as far as DSS is concerned, and we'll talk real quickly about the IBW tags that I use, the tornado emergency, and then I'll integrate the decision support services that we were doing during the event as well. So between about noon and 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30 or 2, we're not really sure when, the Christian County EMA, Mike Cruz, called our office. By the way, he's also the fire chief, so he's dual-hatted there. And he called and asked about the weather, and he wanted to let us know that Taylorville, which is the county seat for Christian County, largest city in the county, was having a Christmas parade on that Saturday at about 5 p.m. So, of course, we briefed him on what was going on with chance for thunderstorms, possibly severe. There was a slight risk in our area with a 5% tour. And we did mention to him that there could be some storms around Taylorville during the time of the parade. Shortly before 4 o'clock, Mike called us again. He asked for an update on the storms, timing, threats. I was able to talk to him. I was the DSS person on shift that day. And so I got to field that call and give him the information. There was already a tornado watch out at the time, and we were already issuing warnings, but they were over by the Illinois River, which was well west of him. St. Louis was also active. They had issued some warnings, I believe, down around the St. Louis metro area. And there were some storms, or a storm developing to the southwest of Litchfield, well to their southwest. So I briefed him on that and let him know what was going on. It was headed to the northeast, and I said, well, it could look like it might move just to the west of town, but even if there's no threat for weather there, there still could be a lightning threat. And with that, I think he made the decision to go ahead and cancel the parade because of that. So, but it was his decision. So about 4:09, I called Mike back because the St. Louis office issued a tornado warning in the county that's just to the southwest of Christian County, a county called Montgomery County, and the storm was moving northeast toward Christian County. That's when I found out he had canceled the parade due to lightning, and he was also getting reports from the Montgomery County spotters. He has a very close relationship with that county and the emergency management there, so he was already being fed information. Plus, I was getting information from St. Louis as well. At 4:21, unbeknownst to me at the time, Mike sounded the outdoor warning sirens, and he told people basically just to go home. The parade was canceled, and he said, go home. And he had mentioned to them that storms were going to be headed into the county, so he wanted people to be safe from that. And mind you, hadn't even issued a warning yet for Christian County, and storms weren't even there. So this is what some of the pictures were, a couple of them there in Montgomery County down around Litchfield. You can see it looks like multiple funnels there, especially the one on the right. So that was already ongoing prior to it getting into Christian County. So we didn't see these pictures until later, but obviously Mike knew kind of what was going on because of spotters that were feeding him information. Then at 4:39, I issued the first tornado warning for Christian County that included Taylorville. As you're watching the loop, the northernmost storm right in here, I had issued a tornado warning for that one as well. The St. Louis office in Montgomery County here had 2 tornadoes on the ground at the same time from 2 different storms. So I issued the warning for this particular cell as it was moving into Christian County. I used the base tag of, radar indicated just because, well, storms can cycle and dissipate and that kind of thing. So I basically was because it wasn't in the county yet. We were getting reports out of Montgomery County. And like I said, it was the second storm that I warned for, this being the first one here, and then this one being the second one here. The initial warning, tornado warning, did have Taylorville being impacted about 5:20. So we started to get reports as the storm moved into Christian County, around Morrisonville, south of Morrisonville. We were told there was some damage. And then at 4:54, I decided to issue a severe weather statement because of the feedback we were getting. You can see here, this is the image that I was using right before I issued this SVS. You can see the TDS tag right in there. Nice inrot on the GR2. And we had some good rotation, moderate rotation in here as well. So we were getting reports of damage. There was a TDS, so I continued it, and that's when I upgraded it to the considerable damage tag. Then at 4:59, Mike called the office again for an update, just wanted to know what was going on. We told him the tornado was still on the ground. In the southern part of the county, he was getting reports as well. A little bit later after that, we were getting a report at 5:06, hey, we got a tornado on the ground a mile east of Palmer. And then also a little bit after that, hey, it's still on the ground just northeast of Palmer. So we continued to get the reports. We got reports of a large tornado or a multi-vortex tornado on the ground. It was still headed toward Taylorville. We were still getting radar signature of a TDS with a moderate to strong meso. And the other reason I went ahead with an additional warning, this is about 5:15 when I issued the tornado warning emergency using catastrophic tag, was that I thought, again, I didn't know that he had told people to go home. It was a nice night. It was kind of, you know, comfortable outside, and I thought people could still be milling around downtown. They could still be maybe going out to eat or shopping or something in the community. So I thought people still might be out. So I decided to go ahead and upgrade and issue a tornado emergency with the catastrophic tag. And at the same time I was in the process of doing that, Mike called the office again to let us know that there was a tornado still on the ground 2 miles north of Palmer. And it was relayed to him at that time, hey, we're going to be issuing another warning, tornado warning emergency warning for Taylorville. Right after that, when he hung up the phone, he sounded the outdoor warning sirens a second time. We didn't realize that until later. Interesting that he did, because Mike was definitely thinking out of the box, because for most people, that's like, oh, that's the all clear sign, but people didn't take it that way. I had two people, when we went down to do the survey, the damage survey, the 2 days after that, I had two people tell me that, well, we knew it was serious when he sounded the sirens a second time. So definitely outside the box thinking, and I would say his actions definitely saved lives. At 5:21, that's when we got the first report that that Taylorville, or the small little town next to it on the south side, was hit by the tornado. And here's the pictures prior to it moving into Taylorville, the two on the left, the middle one and the one on the left. You can see there's multiple funnel clouds, which is probably why we were getting the reports of multi-vortex. This was well south of Taylorville at the time. The individual who took these two pictures said that the wind started picking up and getting pretty strong, so he went inside. And then after he walked back out, the middle picture is the one he saw, this large wedge tornado. LCLs were really low that day. They were below 500 feet. So definitely you can tell that by looking at the clouds. The last picture, the one on the right at 5:23, one of the storm spotters in the area, Montgomery County, she traveled up into Christian County, took this picture. The storm was actually in Taylorville at the time. And this is the best picture she could get from her video that she was taking as she was driving up there. So here's the tornado, as the video tornado as it's moving through Taylorville. You can see the power flashes and the lightning and everything going on. You can hear the sirens. The individual was located here, well safe to the northeast there. The tornado was actually occluding at this, or the cell was actually occluding at this time as it moved through Taylorville. Here's Hewittsville down here on the south side, small mining community, old mining community, and there's the rest of it. The parade was supposed to be in this area, or in the center of Taylorville, and people were supposed to be lining up really close to where the tornado path actually was. So, like I said, definitely a success story from Mike with his actions and his proactive response with getting information from Christian County, from Montgomery County, and as he processed that in actions he took in Christian County. I went ahead and issued I continued the tornado emergency because it was heading toward a new town called Stockton, which you can see up there to the northeast. It was cycling. There was another additional area of rotation that was developing, moving that direction, which is about 8 miles away from Taylorville, so it wouldn't have taken that long to get there. The other reason I kept it going was because I stopped receiving reports from Taylorville. Once the tornado hit there, I was like, hey, what's going on now? What's going on now? As it was leaving town, but we weren't getting any reports. Obviously, that's because they had multiple people trapped, trying to get to people. They had a lot of damage with trees and power lines down, and it was tough to get to some of those areas that were hardest hit. So at 5:44 is when we started receiving reports of major damage in Taylorville. And yeah, a little bit sobering when you start to hear things like, hey, people are trapped in structures and under debris. So we did have one lady that was, they found unconscious underneath her mobile home that was somehow built over a basement and crawl space. And they found her in the crawl space under quite a bit of the debris from her house. Here's the actual damage assessment of the tornado. It was an EF-3, 155 miles, and as you can see here, the orange triangle, that's the worst hit area. That's where it was about the strongest. Interesting that it was strongest as it was occluding. About 12 miles long, half-mile wide in some of the widest areas, especially out in these areas, which were a lot of trees, a lot of tree damage out in that area. Fortunately, no fatalities. Again, I credit Mike Cruz, the EMA, for a lot of that because of the actions he took during the event. And then only 22 injuries, and all those that didn't end up going to the hospital did come out, and they were fine. And quote from Mike, his decisions were heavily based on the conversations he had with us that day during the event, before and during the event itself. And it was great having us available to him, as I talked to him on the phone 2 or 3 times there, and we had other people that talked to him as well. Because the damage was a block away from where the tornado path, or I should say the parade was supposed to be about a block away from where the tornado path actually went through. And he credits the decision support program that we are promoting, and it worked flawlessly. So great success, as it's already been mentioned. And again, I give a lot of credit to Mike. He did some great work in thinking out of the box, and it saved lives. So with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, if you have any questions,